The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast.
You know, it's rare that we come to a race here with elbows out, and it's a track that I've actually ran and raced. I've done 8 hours of endurance here in a GT4 car. That was an absolute dumpster fire, and that's about where I'm going to leave it at that. And that's why we don't talk about Brad's racing career and why I'm in the booth. But it's been fun to know that this track is one that I see and I love, and it is exciting to be back here and be getting things underway. 90 minutes here, not 8 hours that need to be contended with, but 90 minutes of great racing, great action, and great fun that will be found here tonight. I'm glad everyone is along with us to see how this one goes, because this could be a big one in many, many ways. Welcome everybody here to Elbows Out Racing. It is round number 6, and we are at the multi-class hour and a half, the Enduro de Fuego here at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. This is going to be a fun one, as it usually is. No fancy race logos this week, nothing too crazy. We're just going to be getting right into the fun right at the end of qualifying. It's myself, Brad, here in the booth, joined with Patrick, and we got a special guest that I'll bring in here right after the race starts. Good evening, friend. How are you?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic. I'm with a league that I love and a track that I love as well. So you put those two together, and I think we're going to have a simply fantastic night here of an hour and a half of racing here around the track that I have affectionately nicknamed the Circuit de Barcelona de Tire Shredder, because that front left tire is going to be begging for mercy here at some points at the 2.9 mile long circuit.
I worry that I'm going to be begging for mercy by the time this is all said and done here. The drivers, I'm sure, aren't going to beg for mercy. I'm sure they're going to be just fine as we go through here. We're into the gridding section, so we're going to get this show on the road with no hesitation, no waits, no problems here. We'll let the grid scroll through, and as the grid scrolls through, Patrick, we do have a friend with us here. It's not just us. There is also one Mr. Zach Nerney who has joined us here today. Zach, sir, good evening. You're not racing tonight due to some unfortunate circumstances that may or may not have been of your own doing, but nevertheless, you're here. You're joining us for 90 minutes of action. How's it going, man?
It's going great. How you guys doing?
It's not too bad. So you don't have to race tonight, which is nice. One, because you're admin, so you get to kind of watch the chaos as it unfolds and think about it for a little bit. Number two, it's also nice because, well, you don't have to worry about the chaos of the 90 minutes here. Kind of what was going to be your plan going into tonight?
Plan would have been same thing it really always is, and just stay out of trouble. Minimize off tracks, especially at a circuit like this, because you might need those in the future.
Absolutely,
and just
man.
Try and finish.
Yeah, what are we expecting out of tonight? Do we think there's going to be big hassles in GT3? Do we think LMP2s are going to have a bad time? Kind of what are we thinking is going to happen here for the night. What do you say we should watch out for?
I think we should always watch out for the Lap 1 Chaos, as well as the first time P2s and the GT3s meet. I remember last time we went here was when we were running GTPs, so the pace difference was a lot more. So I'm interested to see how those guys get along there.
I think this is going to be a really, really fun one to watch here. Patrick, tell you what, as always, it's a 90-minute race with 3 classes. It's pit stops, 4 tires required. You already called it the circuit to tire shredder, which I think is going to be interesting. And then cautions are, of course, going to be enabled. I have it after lap 1. I think, Zach, you'll correct me on that because I put that in here and then I remembered that's probably wrong. But I know cautions aren't active on lap 1, but they will be active at some point. I want to give a big shout out here to Matthew Santerciero, this week's sponsor, who I wish I could get a better view of his car here to give him the love that he deserves. Let's see if I can get something going here with a chopper cam. There we go. So Matthew Santerciero has been a busy man here because, well, him and his wife are expecting their first child coming up here in just a couple of months. So him and his wife, where's her name? Heather. Him and Heather are expecting their first child here in just a couple of months, and Matthew has given me the honor of knowing the name before his mom, and I don't know how that makes me feel, but I tell you what, I think you're not going to have a Sebastian Vettel, but I think Sebastian John Santerciero is going to be pretty awesome. So, Matthew, you and your wife Heather, congratulations, good luck. May great health and fortune find you all, and we're not going to have a Vettel and elbows out, but we'll have a Sebastian, and I'm pretty excited to see how that goes. So be sure to get him in the rig early. That's all I can say. LMP2s are coming around here, and we're going to get ready for 90 minutes of racing. Patrick, let's get these LMP2s underway. Here's the race start.
Indeed, and the drivers are about to get ready to go here. It is a massive run down into turn number 1, so we'll just have to see who can go ahead and manage this the best. They're going to go ahead and go racing now. Some cars going wide here coming into turn 1. It is a very tight turn 1 as they go through the elf corner, and they're going to go and make their way through. No incidents, but we'll see the GT3s will have the same fortune going through without any kind of incidents. The race is live, and we're seeing some good jockeying for a position here early on, but the corners aren't super narrow at this track, so you can do some battle, but the drivers have to really think about their tires here, as GT3 Pros are good, GT3 AMs just coming through the elf corner now, and so far, a very clean race start here.
It was a clean start here. Malik Bass is around here early, coming in down the back half of the circuit. That is going to kick things off and drop him down the order, but it does look like he's trying to hold on here for the GT3 Pros. Hugo Ortiz currently going side by side right there around the inside, around turn number 7, if I'm not mistaken, where we're at on circuit. As they go through, they hold on and bring their way along side by side. Still that 691 of Tyler Cook with Hugo Ortiz, and Tyler Cook is able to live Moss clear it up. Up front, 1.1 second lead for Alex Caruso over Cody Peredato, but we know how quick Cody can be here. Aiden Garcia P3, Paletti and Dilts, your top 5 in GT LMP2 competition. There we go. Let's say it right. And then 3 seconds back to Woodman C. First lap, though, goes to our pole sitter, Alex Caruso.
Yeah, some good pace here from Alex in the opening stages of the race here. So we'll see if he can keep it up, but we know that Cody Peredato, dreaded run from him. He's always going to show up in your rearview mirrors at some point. Emily, though, is having a pretty decent start, up into 7th place now. I believe Emily qualified towards the rear of the LMP field, so Emily making that way up all the way to P7, doing a pretty good job here so far, but Emily's now going to see Maxwell Woodmansey up in front, and we'll see if Maxwell can keep Emily behind.
Yeah, keeping that battle going back here in the GT3s through turn number 3. We have Brian Metterly and Paul Nye, the donut guy, that are going to bring their way along. Let's see what sort of challenges they can find here as they go through. And Metterly, we know, has a lot of good pace there in that Mustang, but Paul Nye in the Aston Martin. Well, Zach, that's your teammate, man. He's looked pretty good all season. Let's see what he can bring along here as he goes through.
Yeah, we'll just have to see how this racing continues on, but it'll be interesting to see because, I mean, I think what Zach said earlier is a very valid point about the traffic because there's a few good spots for the LMP2s to get past. Obviously, that start-finish straight is a very good one. I mean, you're coming out of turn 14 and making your way down to turn 1. That's probably the best spot for these LMP2 cars to get past, but I mean, when you go through the rest of Sector 1 and a good amount of Sector 2, it's going to be a bit of a trickier case, but these drivers have done this rodeo before. For probably 99% of the field, this isn't their first rodeo, so they'll be able to handle it. But, I mean, it is a 90-minute race, so once again, we'll just have to see. As the Doge Man of Nicholas Poletti is under attack now from Austin Diltz, just behind the number 56, doing a pretty good job here, but once again, it is early stages here in the race, so
plenty of time for anything really to change up as we go through here. Emily Milkey still putting some pressure on Maxwell Woodman's seat here in the background as well as they come through here. In GT3 AM, I just want to check this out right now. Ondera and Aaron Clayball having a pretty good battle here through the first sector of the track. Another Doge car bringing its way through, trying to put some pressure. The AMs have stayed pretty close together here as it goes. And it looks like Stephen Poe, Tyler Cook in the pros back in P10, P11, trying to battle things out. So here in the AMs, Ondera qualified with a lot of good pace, but it seems like here under race pace, sitting up, trying to hold on to that race pace here, working pretty decent. But we'll just have to see if over 90 minutes he can hold this pace ahead, as Clayball just right there behind, holding on, going through. And, well, this is going to be a fun one to watch as well as it goes.
indeed, yeah. And I mean, GT3 AMs and GT3 Pros, I mean, actually you could say this for all three classes, they all always provide some really excellent battles here, as Aaron Clayball is going to go ahead and try to put pressure onto Christopher Ondera in that Mustang. And I mean, the thing that I will always remember Aaron Clayball for was, I believe it was last season at Long Beach, when he was defending in that Culver's Mercedes with no rear wing for like 3 laps, and it was absolute cinema.
Oh my gosh.
This time he does have, this time he has all the car parts on his car, and he's putting up a pretty good challenge here to Christopher Ondera, and those two have a pretty solid gap to Tim Wilson behind in the number 11 Mustang. But Aaron Clayball is going to go ahead and get a very good slipstream down the straight here. Going to try to make it into turn 1, but I mean, like you said earlier, it's a 90-minute race, so no need to rush things at this stage. We're only on the 4th lap here.
No need to rush things here, but look at that between Nathan Hemperly, Panero, and Andre Wedderburn. You want to talk about not rushing things, but then putting some pressure. This is the back of the GT3 field, as that number 12 of Hemperly is in the Mustang. Great run around the Mustang of Wedderburn, gets his way through, and that is going to be a change here in the back out of the top 10 for AM as they stand. Checking back in up in the front here of the GT3 Pro category. Zach, how is Paul Nye, the donut guy, feeling at the moment?
Oh, he's feeling great at this track, I think. He qualified well. Great track for him usually. He's having a great season. Really found a car that works for him.
Yeah, it's great to see here. He has managed to work his way up into the lead. We'll see if we can dial up a replay of just how he managed to pull that off, because some great battles going all the way through here for everyone. We've missed a few different incidents as well up and down the field. We'll go back and check out some of those lap 1 incidents as they happened and kind of just recap what's happened. But this, boys and girls, is how Paul Nye got his way up into the lead. So let's check this out here. This is him going down the main straight. He's down slipstream to the inside, pulls to the inside of the 184. He's looking there. He's holding on, and great dive into turn one. Great car control from the Aston Martin there, able to pull the pass off. Now let's check out some of the other incidents that we missed here as Paul Nye was able to pull that pass off. Well, let's go back and recap lap one here, the race start, because that is really where I think some of the craziness sort of came up. So let's go back, check that out here, dial up a quick replay as it went. So we had a good restart here, and let's see what it was that happened along as it went lap one. So we had a few different things happen here that we missed out on. So this is Andre Wedderburn and Seth Bosselman. This was the back of the GT3 Amfield. I mean, just it looks like slight checkups, miscommunication on the field of when they were going, caused a few couple of bumps through there. Further up ahead, this was Joshua Bibb. Actually, this is behind here. Joshua Bibb then getting involved in a little bit of a moment. Malik Bass, what happened to him lap one? Weeble, wobble, wiggle, cold tires, and a spin. So that is where Malik Bass got in, and then some hard hits from multiple cars there, and that is what caused that through. So Malik Bass, unfortunately, having that moment, and then this is just him trying to get back to the pits, having another snap of the car, not having a good time. Hugo Alexander Ortiz, what happened with him here? This was lap two, and the back of the car became the front of the car. Not ideal. Craig Yor, what happened with Craig? Another one, back of the car became the front of the car. The Mustang just doing Mustang things here and going through. And I'll tell you right now, there are 1,000,007 off tracks that I'm seeing right now. We didn't talk about it, but track limits, boys and girls, are going to be a big issue here. Patrick, if you're a driver, what do you do to really hold on and keep up with track limits?
I mean, this track is popular for testing for a reason. It tests both man and machine, as that Mustang is missing a rear wing. That is Tim Wilson. I mean, I guess that's going to help him on straights, but everything else I'm not too sure about. But, I mean, it's always going to be really tricky, right, to kind of navigate where the track limits are. But, I mean, I guess ultimately just kind of do your best. Oh, and definitely don't do that.
That is what happened to Tim Wilson.
So basically, the best way to keep the car within track limits is, well, number one, keep it on the track. And I mean, you just gotta kind of manage your exit speed, because sometimes if you carry too much momentum going out of a corner, especially towards around turn 9, where in Formula 1 that second DRS zone would be, you carry too much speed and you're going right over those white lines, and most likely in the gravel as well.
Let's talk about this battle right here in GT3 Pro. This is P2 because for some reason Paul Nyes decided to just open up the wheel and take off really quick with a 2.1 second lead in class here. Colin Bourdon, Brian Medderly, Tyler Stenick. You've got two Mustang teammates working together here, trying to bring their way through and keep a challenge ahead on that 184. Let's see here, if you're Medderly or Stenick, who is the faster car? I'll tell you right now, looking at pace, they're pure identical. Best lap-wise, though, Tyler Stenick is about 1/10.5 up on Medderly. So at some point, do you think Stenick is going to try to call the optional? We're not going to pull any it wouldn't be papaya rules. We're going to call that blue rules. No UK blue rules here, but I'm sure at some point it's going to be the call of, hey, get past or get out of my way. And, well, I think Brian Medderly feeling the pressure here up the inside. Can he hold on there? For Fair Enough Racing. Inside turns to outside. Let's see if he can work his way through. The inside advantage will go to the Porsche. He runs wide into the gravel, comes through. Now will Stenick work his way past? Is this going to be where Stenick calls it for the day and says, know what, I can't stay behind. We can be fair, but fair is enough. Haha, boom. Brian Medderly gets wiggly on the sausage curbs, and Tyler Stenick will work his way through. That's going to open up his teammate to some pressure from behind. The Fair Enough Racing drivers have swapped positions, and now Callan Tobin is going to be trying to bring a challenge.
I think in general, just how wide Medderly was going in some cases, as Callan Tobin running a special livery this week, a special Halloween-themed livery this week on his Mustang. I think just in general, I don't think there was even any blue rules even applied there. I think the opportunity just kind of opened itself up, and we know Stenick is quick. I mean, back-to-back champions for a reason. He did it in the Mustang, and then he did it in the BMW last season. So I think just in general, there was going to be an opportunity to open up, but yeah, I think in general, this is going to be a good battle. The teammates obviously respect each other, and the blue rules are definitely a lot better than the papaya rules. I will just say that right now. I think in general, blue rules are much more loved by everybody here.
Definitely seems to be the case for everyone as they go through. Great battle here up in the front of GT3 Pro. I want to check in here. Cal Hagen, who is putting down some pressure on Maxwell Woodman C as he goes along here, continuing to find his time. And I just realized that I'm not showing the time. I'm showing laps. 1 hour and 16 minutes left to go in this race here as it stands. And we are getting to the point where we're catching lap traffic. So where are we at in the thick of it for Alex Caruso? It's coming around the 372 of Hugo Alexander Ortiz, who is in P15 in the pro field. And so he's working his way up to the podium positions of the AM field. And I tell you what, I have to wonder what is going to be the case here as we watch this Hyperion Racing driver try to work his way through the field. He's going to be trying to get past Dayton McGuire in that Miller Lite car here in just a moment. How does he do that and continue to keep the pace? Because what he's got to be careful of is not getting stuck and not getting caught out from a car not seeing him there through a corner. Great heads-up driving there from Kyle O'Grady.
The thing that kind of saved him there really is the fact that there is a good amount of curbing that is right on the exit of that corner, of the campsite corner there. Good amount of runoff there. So it was a bit of a saving grace, but yeah, he's got to really try to get his way through this traffic because he's got a very solid lead here to go ahead and kick things off. We're just about approaching 15 minutes into the race here, as the 395 of Alex Caruso is now going to go ahead and chase down the Mustang. Now, if I were in LMP2, this would be the best spot to go ahead and catch traffic, because now you could just glide on past like no man's business. And then you can already be ahead by the time you get to the really tricky sector of turns 1 through 3, essentially. And I mean, that dirty air will mess you up, especially in 3, because 3 is the corner that really shreds through the tires the most here. And honestly, if you can go through there without dealing with traffic, then your pace is going to be a lot better. And here we go. We got another fantastic battle here. Another car numbered in the 300s. This time it is Austin Diltz and Nicholas Paletti going at it again, as now they have caught up to a wealth of traffic here. And in the process, they've caught up to Aiden Garcia.
Traffic giveth, traffic taketh away. That is the saying that I know we say week after week, time after time, but when you're in a 90-minute race like this, it is truly the feat of all feats. Look at this. The 799 of Garcia gets caught up behind the number 12 Mustang of Nathan Hemperly. Hemperly's going to look here, and he's doing exactly what he needs to do. He's in his line. He's running. It's up to Garcia to get past cleanly, but as he does that, and as he tries to set that up, he doesn't want to force a move that's going to compromise them both. He doesn't want to wreck them both, but then you end up in a position where you just end up with this. But then here is traffic giveth for him at this point, because that holds up the 56 and the 392 as they have to work their way around the outside of the curve. And now Emily Milky is in the mix again, as Emily Milky wants to come up behind, but now Garcia is caught behind another Mustang. And I mean, it's just back and forth, to and fro, give and take. What do you do in the situation? And if you can get fortunate enough and lucky enough, like they just did, to get a pass here on the main stretch, I mean, you're setting up for a glorious time. Look at this bump drafting down the main straight. Aiden Garcia is going to pull there to the inside. Coming around now, Paletti and Diltz, they're going to go for moves. Let's see, down the inside will go Paletti. Paletti able to pull off the move on Diltz here, coming through, but will there be a switch back into turn 3? It doesn't look like it, but the 876 of Emily Milky is going to try to bring it around the inside now, force a move to the outside. Traffic gives the pick, and here we go. This switches things up yet again. Austin Diltz still trying to hold on here, up ahead of Paletti. He lost the position into 1. He used the traffic, picked with the traffic, brought his way through, and found his way around as Brian Medley has found the wall.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate place to lose it. Yeah, that's not a great position there for the Mustang. I'm trying to see what corner that is. I believe that's right around the Worth corner, so I think that's right into Sector 2. Yep. Oh, him and his teammate go a bit into the gravel. It bites Medley a bit more, and he's just losing that rear end. And luckily, he doesn't lose any further by colliding with another car. He's going to reverse a bit, but I mean, the beauty of this track being wide, specifically through the back end of Sector 2, is that you can get back on track, as that curve took a chunk out of that Mustang. I mean, I thought we were seeing some rallycross here, which, funny enough, Barcelona is used for rallycross sometimes. There's a rallycross specific layout for this track.
I feel like it'd be a lot of fun to see these cars in rallycross. Here's Cody Peridotto, but I want to look back behind because this is the scariest thing waiting to happen here. Nicholas Paletti, Emily Milky going side by side, and that is the 372 to their outside of Hugo Alexander Ortiz. They all solve it out before turn 1. But for a brief moment, we were 3 wide down the main straight of Barcelona. This is not what I expected. Here we go, Malik Bass trying to make a move now. We're about to see another 3 wide going through. That's Joshua Bibb, and then that's the 191. That's the 4 of Dwight Hibbs, who I know is listening. Dwight, you got some pressure coming behind you, buddy. Keep it together. Keep it going in that Subaru painted LMP2 car. And if there is any Subaru in there, I mean, if you're rallycrossing in Barcelona, I'd imagine you want a Subaru. So probably a good position to be in there as he goes through. I want to check back in with this little bit of scariness that's coming through as they have now worked their way around Christopher Ondera, and they continue to work their way forward through class as they go. Again, these battles continue up front. 7 seconds to the good is Alex Caruso. In GT3 Pro, Paul Nye is up by 4.7 seconds. And then Christopher Ondera is up by about 2 seconds right now over Dayton McGuire. And that gap will continue to fluctuate as we go. Pit stop strategy is going to be interesting. I bring that up now because I have to ask Patrick, what do you do with pit stop strategy here with this track going through? I don't know what you do with pit stop strategy personally.
Well, we do know that that front left tire takes a massive beating around turn 3. So that is something you have to really kind of keep in check. I mean, ideally, a similar strategy to like what works throughout most of the season, where you try to go at least roughly halfway and then swap to another set of tires, could be ideal, but I mean, especially when you have such tense battles like Emily versus Nicholas here, you're going to really start burning up those tires a bit. Granted, it's not as strong as, say, like an open-wheeled car, but the dirty air does affect these tires to an extent. So ultimately, you want to get this battling done as soon as possible. But coming back to the pit strategy, I think you need to really go ahead and try to get to halfway, as Emily Milky tries and succeeds to get past the number 56 and the number 876. Escapes P6 and up to P5.
Great, beautiful pass there coming through as we continue along watching this battle develop into the sunset. We haven't talked about the weather conditions here. No rain this week, but we are driving 6 p.m. virtual time here. 80% humidity, 73-degree track tip, 70-degree air temp. I mean, you couldn't ask for a more gorgeous day. I could ask for a more gorgeous day in real life because I woke up to it being about 40 degrees outside, which I was not prepared for. I will say that. I know, sir, as a Florida man yourself, you may not know what that's like, but I'll tell you, here in Kentucky, it's miserable. Look at the sea of cars coming down the main straight. Colin Bourdon, Callan Tobin battling it out with the return of the Mac coming through with Travis Bell right behind, continuing to follow through. GT3 pros have found themselves in a absolute procession down single file going through. Nobody really trying to force moves. Everybody just trying to find some gaps. Tyler Cook, though, wants to get around that conscript 386 of Joel Bandera. We'll try to take it around the outside, hard on the brakes into turn 6. Down the inside goes the 392. He locks up a little bit in that 392 of Austin Diltz. Able to survive, if only just, but there was contact made. That is unfortunate, but I tell you what, that will leave Tyler Cook a little bit of room there for the moment, as we've had a GT3 go off here. That is Aiden Garcia, Austin Diltz. Austin Diltz is the one who just went off, and that allows Aiden Garcia to catch way up, and I have a feeling I already know how that one happened, and that it involved a little bit of traffic.
Yeah, that dive bomb there from Austin Diltz was pretty scary, but I mean, hey, he got it done. unfortunately, some subsequent events after the fact kind of negated any kind of advantage he had of getting around some of the traffic a bit early. But look at this. We're seeing the LMP2s and GT3s kind of race side by side through this section of the track like they're in the same class. Just because the LMP2s don't exactly have a great advantage around Sector 3 here. Now they're coming through turns 13 and 14, which will go ahead and allow Austin Dills to finally get a good run onto the start-finish straight to really start making some really good passes here. But, I mean, it just takes one slight slip there to kind of throw your whole race into disarray. And Aiden Garcia is going to go ahead and now be under pressure once again from Emily Milky this go around. So we'll see if Emily can go ahead and get on through. Getting past the Big Mac there, and now the battle continues. It is the 876 and the 799 going toe-to-toe yet again. And the crazy thing is normally we would be saying that we're about halfway through the race, but tonight we're only a third of the way through the race just about.
It's wild to think about. Tons of racing still to come here through the evening, so don't go anywhere. If you were thinking it's a good time to get popcorn, it's probably not, because this is where the thickest part of the action is coming up. And to tell you what I'm watching right now, it's right here, Ondara and Maguire. Why am I watching this? This is the battle for GT3 AM overall, separated by about half a second as they go and continue their battles along. This is going to be an exciting one to kind of watch through. Dayton Maguire, 25 years old with Maguire Motorsports, named after Daytona International Speedway. I mean, I kind of have to root for Dayton at that point. If he's going to be named after Daytona, I mean, that kind of just gives a little bit of a good story there as he's working with the 388, working his way through along, going around Jonathan Lanton, trying to find his way around the traffic again. We're going to see that moment of traffic giveth, traffic taketh away, the battle right now in AM, but now it's going to giveth the battle right back is Ondara. I mean, I tell you what, for a GT3 AM, he's driving like an LMP2 coming along here as they come down into the final corner, sending it along through the beautiful Barcelona sunset, the Enduro de Fuego. I tell you what, it's been quite muy fuego going through. I don't know Spanish. Don't ask me a question.
Me neither.
Check back in Colin Bourdon here as he goes along with a great battle and continues along. This is, again, that same big group of cars we've been watching as Emily Milky, Aiden Garcia try to work their way through. We see Kel Hagen with a big dive here around the outside. Nicholas Paletti works his way through the inside and is able to get past. But again, just that same big group of cars that starts with Aiden Garcia, who's trying to work his way around Colin Bourdon right now and can't work his way past. It's just causing an absolute traffic jam here in the evening.
Yeah, the tail end of Sector 2 going into Sector 3 is always such a tough one for traffic to navigate and kind of flow on through. But these drivers have been getting through mostly unscathed, which is very good. I mean, obviously you never want to see contact between an LMP2 and a GT3 car, but the beautiful thing about this series is, even though there is traffic a good amount of times, as there's also a good amount of cars just touching a little bit of the gravel, or kitty litter, as I've heard a friend of mine refer to it as, and looks like potentially some drama up here with the GT3s and the LMP2s. I believe that would be Callan Tobin flashing his lights, clearly not too pleased with the LMP2 shenanigans, and here we go. This is going to be a tough one here. Kel Haugen going in and getting one past Nicholas Paletti. Kel Haugen had a beautiful week last week, and actually, if my memory serves me correctly, he actually won last time out, so he's got a good amount of momentum coming into this week.
Yeah, we haven't touched on the championship yet, but the championship, a great battle going through. We'll see what happens here as it goes and this season continues. The championship, plenty of things that can happen here. Mike Sermon, Stephen Poe battling it out. Down the inside goes the 348. The number 378 goes very wide, taps the gravel there, goes a little bit loose. That's going to open it up for Joel Bandera, that neon green car to come through and around. Zach Nerney joining us here in the booth. 30 minutes in, 60 minutes to go. Zach, I got to ask, what are you keeping an eye on here in this race so far? What have you seen that maybe we've missed out on? I know you've told me Colin Bourdon, Tyler Stenick have been a little bit of a situation.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what happened, but Steenick had a couple second gap over Bourdon, and now that's kind of flipped back around. Also, just Paul Nye running away with the lead here with the 10-second gap back to Bourdon.
Do you think that at this point, is there any tire degradation coming in for these GT3s? I'm sure the LMP2s might be feeling a little something. Traditionally, for those of you who are familiar with this track through F1, of course, F1 cries about tires anytime they run more than a lap because Pirelli can't build a tire compound to save their life. But with these GT3s, as we go 3 wide down the inside, goes Stenick trying to make the move stick. Bourdon outside turns to inside. Can he hold on to it there? The LMP2 works his way through. Stenick works his way back through and is going to try to hold on against the Porsche. Can he do so? It looks like it. Callan Tobin now has the Porsche in his sights for the next Mustang to work his way through. Zach, what I was trying to ask before, do we think that there's any sort of tire degradation starting to play in right now?
I think there most certainly is. If you're pushing slightly too hard into the corner, or if you've slid, then you are definitely feeling it on your tires right about now.
Thank you, Zach. Zach kind of playing as a pseudo in-race pit reporter this week here for this 90-minute race. Again, Zach not racing for reasons that I won't share, but I'll just say that, ladies and gentlemen, remember your work safety training and remember not to stand on things that can roll. And I'll leave it at that as we go through watching this great battle here for P2 in GT3 Pro with John Javicki in the 706 in the mix as well as they continue to battle it out. Check it back in here. Christopher Ondera has managed to pull a 2-second plus gap to Dayton McGuire here in the AM category. So now Dayton McGuire is rolling backwards into Kyle O'Grady and Nathan Hemperly and is making this a pretty interesting battle. And then looking back further through the AM category, Vasselman, Wedderburn, and our race sponsor, Matthew Sancher-Sierra, battling it out. And again, if you missed earlier, Matthew and his wife, Heather, expecting a baby Sebastian here coming up in a couple of months. So, yeah, not a Sebastian Vettel, but it is a Sebastian John who will be coming up. And the fact that I know that, and now everyone here knows that, and his mom doesn't know that yet, I'm curious to know how his mom's going to react. But hey, that's a big off there coming through as I'm talking about it from Andre Wedderburn. So that's going to give Matthew Sancher-Sierra a great present here for the race dedicated to his wife and his soon-to-be-born son. He's looking for just a great result today.
To kind of think that in about probably 15 years from now, if we're both still doing Elbows Out Racing, which I honestly hope so, we could see a battle between the father-son duos because we had the Bechtels going at it in 2 different classes, and we might see the same here from the Santos-Sierras. So that's honestly a really awesome prospect. And another thing that we kind of touched upon earlier, talking about Dayton McGuire, I feel like if I tried to name a child after a track, it may get vetoed. Although the mental image of naming, in this case, we'll just say a son after the circuit of Barcelona, Catalunya would be hilarious to see teachers try to pronounce.
You know, I gotta wonder if you were to name. I'm trying to think of tracks that would be really hard to name a kid after. Laguna Seca, I mean, you could go for Logan. Watkins Glen, I mean, Walken. I mean, that one is there. Or Glenn. I mean, I guess unless you want Glenn Quagmire jokes, middle school is difficult, boys and girls. Remember that. Gosh, what other track? Why am I blanking on tracks right now? Bristol, Brittany, I guess Kentucky, Ken? No?
I mean, an easy one that actually doesn't sound like too much of a out of the ordinary name is Imola. I mean, if you don't go with the full, Enzo Ferrari, all the stuff ahead of it. If you just use Imola, then that doesn't sound like too off of a name.
You know what? Actually, that does make sense.
Actually, I might write that down somewhere.
Fair enough. I respect that. You know what? Yeah, go for it. I'm not going to do it. Wedderburn here. Seth Vasselman battling it along. BMW versus Mustang. Fair enough. BMW down the inside. A great move, hard on the brakes. Let's see what happens here. Ooh. This is going to be holding it inside, long sweep, clears himself out onto the racing line. Great move from Wedderburn to hold that car together. Great move from Vasselman to get that pass completed there. As Emily Milky goes wide ahead, Emily has dropped back down the order. At some point, Emily has dropped well down, and I don't know what happened to Emily, so I might have to go back and look and see if I can figure out. Whoa! We've had a big coming together in the background.
Yeah, Wedderburn and Santos Sierra having a bit of a moment there, just going through the S's, and Santos Sierra, the soon-to-be father, having a bit of a rough one there. And, oh, that looked not super great. Well, I can already see the first problem is gravel is not usually good on slicks.
So it all started when Emily went off there, and everyone kind of checking up, trying to avoid Emily. We're focusing on Santos Sierra here. Where does this come through? So that's the 151. That's contact together coming through, and then that just sends them both off. So not ideal here. 35 minutes into a 90-minute race for this to be the moment you found yourself into. But it is what it is, and it do what it do as we go along here and we get back to our live race pictures. And Matthew Santos Sierra, I tell you what, I'm glad you dedicated this race to your wife and your son. They're going to appreciate it. I saw a spin in the background there. Who was that snapping loose? That was Ethan Murphy with a snap of the rear end, I believe on the gravel on track from that moment we saw with Wedderburn.
Yeah, I think that might be a similar spot to where we saw the Wedderburn and Santos Sierra moment a bit earlier on. But, I mean, I can name a corner on this track, and I'm sure we've already seen at least one moment on it at some point today. As Nicholas Paletti now still trying to chase down Kjell Haugen there for the last spot in the top 5 here on the race. He's going to get a good run here, but once again, the dirty air is going to go ahead and play a factor here in this race as they make their way through turn number 4, the Rest Bowl corner. Now making their way to seat, and oh, look at this. He's going to go and think about a move, but that door closed nice and gently. So Paletti is not going to get a move here at this time, but still a good amount of racing left to go and still a lot of good opportunities. And I think we're probably roughly about 10 minutes away from seeing the first batch of pit stops here, I would think, Brad. I mean, I know the front left is going to be absolutely gone on a lot of these drivers, especially those who have been pushing tooth and nail, but who knows, maybe one of them could get a very nice payday in the form of some good track position, depending on their pit strategy.
I know you didn't just make a payday pun, but I 100% know you did. So here's another weird one to think about. We're over halfway through this race season here. We're round 6 of 11 with 3 drop weeks and no race the week of Thanksgiving. I mean, we're hitting the good numbers here as it goes. So here's what's coming up next week. Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. I'm very excited for that one because I'm not saying why, but just know I'm very excited because the sponsor of that race is very, very special. From there,
I mean, honestly, go for it.
No. What were you going to say? I
was going to say, that's honestly the race I'm probably looking forward to the most on this calendar. Ever since it was announced, that was a track that I was like, all right, this is probably going to be the race I am going to look forward to the most. Because multiclass racing on that track isn't really something I thought too much about before, but I'm really curious to see how it's going to go. High elevation can really make some downforce setups a bit tricky.
That it can. Paul Nye into the pits here right at, well, about 8 minutes earlier than what I was expecting, to be honest with you, but here into the pits nonetheless. Let's see here as Paul Nye comes out of the pits. 24.6 in the box. I don't think that's a bad box time here as it goes. Let's see here as he exits the pits. He's going to exit here around Emily Milky, who is running about 12th overall, kind of trying to run things through, is the first LMP2, a lap down. Paul Nye with a good stop there from what I can tell, continuing along here, and will be very much one to watch as we go through. Everybody's going to be kind of paying attention, trying to gauge overcut, undercut. Where is the cut as they go through? Callan Tobin trying to get past Colin Bourdon here as they go through and along. Malik Bass has also pit. Parker Chiapuzzo is in. Craig Yor, Tim Wilson, Derek Rice. So a few takers here a few minutes early. Is down the inside we go, and we have a caution out. Well, that changes everything. What was that caution for?
I didn't see anything in particular, so it's something that we definitely missed. Yeah, like you said, that definitely does change how the strategy is going to work. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing a flurry of activity in the pits here. Probably about maybe one lap a time. Maybe they'll wait it out, but I think in general, it's going to be really interesting to see who does take advantage, because you're going to have a bit of a cheaper pit stop this time around, as you would otherwise. I think you save a little bit of time.
This changes everything as the field is going to be getting their way under caution. This is going to set things up. Everyone basically just got a free pit stop handed to them, I have to say. As they all come down, the fields will now gather out. The iRacing safety car will now pull out to pick up the race leader of Alex Caruso. You can see it there coming out of the pits now with the lights on. Caruso will slow down to catch it. This changes everything, and the reason for that caution, it's not one specific event, so there is a couple of different things that can trigger a caution as it goes here in Elbows Out. One of them is if there is a certain amount of 4x incidents, which is car-to-car contact within a set time frame. The other one that you should know of is total incidents in a lap. So if so many cars go off in a lap, or something major, so many cars have so many incidents within a lap, that can trigger a caution. And I have to say here, we're going to queue up, because I do see here that something happened right as that caution kicked off with, looks like Derek Rice, but I don't really see what it was that may have happened to him. I'm trying to get that queued up to see if I can tell, but I can't. I'm trying to see anything else, but I'll tell you right now, just kind of looking at what was happening, there were a lot of off tracks going in that run, and it kind of all started here with Malik Bass, Craig Yor going a little bit slow. We had Parker Chiapuzzo pick up an off track in that same moment, going through running wide. Ethan Murphy picked up an off track at the same time, running wide. Brian Metterly picked up an off track, running wide through the corners. So just so many drivers picking up off tracks at once is what changed things up. And when that happens, the system thinks there's a caution, or thinks there's been a big incident, and it'll throw a caution. Ethan Murphy here going around. We picked up the back end of this earlier, going through Santa Sierra's incident. We saw this earlier. This was lap 19. That was one more view of that. But all of that together is what has triggered our caution here on the night. And that, again, changes everything. Everyone basically gets a free pit stop at this point.
Yeah, honestly, I'm surprised that we haven't seen more cars, especially some of the leaders, try to take advantage of that. But we know how crucial track position can be here. So maybe that's why some drivers are not taking a pit stop. But personally, I would just go ahead and jump at the opportunity to get this pit stop underway, get it done and dusted, and then that way, when everybody does make their pit stop later on in the race under green flag conditions, then I'm just going to get back ahead anyway. So I would also take the pit stop now. We'll see if anyone does take it. We're still going to go around for at least another lap or so under the safety car, and we'll see. I think somebody might jump in. No, surprisingly not.
Looks like pits.
Oh, there we go.
I was going to say, it looks like pits are supposed to be closed, but then we have Dayton McGuire, who is, or no, sorry, that's not Dayton McGuire. Who was that snuck his way in?
That's definitely an Aston Martin.
Yeah, it's a green Aston Martin.
O'Grady?
Kyle O'Grady Oh, he pit with the pits closed. He just picked up a penalty for that too.
Oh,
So
well, that explains
that
it.
is painful. So he's pit in. He's now picked up a penalty, which is going to hurt him desperately as he goes through. Not ideal to see as he goes along. And now the field is going to have a time sorting itself. Dwight Hibbs, why are we off-roading? And Dwight, I know you can hear me. Why are you off-roading right now? Why were you in the grass? What was that? I think that was a checkup of the whole field under pits as we try to sort things out here.
Yeah, it was the yellow flag checkup.
Yep. So there we go. Dwight answering the question as it goes. So let's see what happens. Low fuel is what caused Kyle O'Grady to have to pit under pits closed, is what I'm getting from Zach Nerney, our in-race pit reporter, as I'm going to call him here for this 90-minute race. And, of course, Zach, part of the admin team here, so he has confirmed for me pits open next time by. Then we sort the field. Then we send it back green. So, ladies and gentlemen, tell you what, we're going to take this moment here. We're going to step aside here and grab something to drink, take a moment, enjoy some pacing here around Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. We'll be right back. All right, and if I can remember to unmute, you would have just heard my reaction to Bob Carey spinning in the pits. But I didn't unmute, so now you get my not live reaction, unfortunately. lots of drivers pit. A couple didn't, which is kind of really catching me off guard here. Jonathan Lanton didn't pit, which I'm very confused about. I'm showing a lot of guys have been in the pits at this point, but Jonathan Lanton, the only car on the entire grid that has not pit here as we get going. And I do want to take a moment here as we go and just welcome everybody in here. We are 42 minutes and 45 seconds left to go in the Enduro de Fuego 90, brought to you this week by Matthew Santerciero, his wife Heather, and the wonderful, wonderful soon-to-be-born child of Sebastian John, who I'm going to nickname Sebastian John Vettel here, for no other reason than the name Sebastian. So, I mean, why would I not? Sorry if you don't like the nickname, but Uncle Brad here at PTR TV has decreed it, so that is where it's going to be. We've got Dwight, who's joined us here in the booth, running in the LMP2 category. And then, of course, we have our Voldemort wannabe here for Halloween, Zach Nerney, who's playing in-race pit report for us as it goes. Patrick, it's you and me as always this week with a little bit of extra help here from the side. What have you thought so far of this race, Patrick?
It's been a very fantastic race here, as it always is here at Elbows Out Racing, week in, week out. We've seen some good battles, particularly the GT3 AMs. I mean, the battles there have been, bar none, some of the most entertaining on the night. And also we've seen some thrills, some spills, and everything that perfectly screams, oh yeah, this is a certified Barcelona de Catalunya banger. Or, never mind, I'm going to save that one for later. But overall, it's been a fantastic race here at this beautiful circuit here. And honestly, I don't think we could have picked many other tracks that would have been better for a 90-minute race.
I would wholeheartedly agree with that. Continuing to come down through pace, and Kyle O'Grady shows for me as the leader of the GT3 AMs here. Now, I will say there is a little bit of adjustment that needs to be made here. AMs, it looked like, have sorted themselves out in order and are coming through. Benjamin Bechtel is going through. I'm showing the AMs, it looks like, in order. Let's check out where the pros are at the moment as they go through. So the pros are kind of mixed in with the AMs here. It looks like maybe the GT3s are sorted and LMP2s here are in the rear, in the mix of the field a little bit as they find their way through. I'm still seeing some black flags here as pits are closed. It looks like Jonathan Lanton decided to pit under the closed pits. He picks up a black flag here and he'll be sitting for a hot minute, but again, it's under caution, and him and his teammate Kel Hagen both in. They're going to kind of have to settle it out, let it be what it be. And at the moment, we just let things pace its way around here under the safety car. We'll wait to try to get this field sorted out as it goes, and as everything comes along. Alex Caruso, for those of you wondering, I saw somebody say what happened to Caruso. Well, I'm just going to flash the pit stop time and let it speak for itself. An 83-second pit stop is what happened. And I will say also, as we go through, let's see what happened to Bob Carey, because Bob Carey had a scary moment there in pits as well. And I'm going to see if I can find where that was here. So give me 0.5 seconds here as Bob Carey had a moment in pit lane. And I'm going to see if I can pick it up where it happened. And, of course, I cannot. So we are going to forget that I was going to do that. But when you joined us back live, Bob Carey was sitting around backwards. Not ideal for him in the pit lane. He's came back out. He's doing okay. But, yeah, Alex Caruso, who's been leading this race here, Patrick, 80-second pit stop. And he, unfortunately, is going to find himself P6, and he's going to have to carve his way through the field.
Yeah, I mean, he's been dominating most of this race here tonight. I mean, he's pretty much led every single lap up until this point here at the Enduro de Fuego 90. We'll have to see if he can go ahead and get fired up, or get fuegoed up in this case. And we'll see if he can just go ahead and just continue to fight it out here on track. We know he's got the pace, but he's always been in the lead. He hasn't really been battling yet, so we know he's been pretty decent at getting through traffic, but how good can he battle here tonight? Because he's got Hibbs, Woodmansey, Garcia, Diltz, and Peridotto all up in front as now. The field looks like it's going to go ahead and get reordered, so the LMP2s will start at the front. GT3 Pros will start directly behind them, and behind them, the GT3 AMs, which honestly, like I said earlier, the GT3 AMs have been bringing in some really, really good battles here, but I think all three classes are going to have drivers fighting for their lives here on the restart.
Look who's up front. Cody Peredato up in the front here. That is amazing to see, as Austin Diltz has now had to tow to pit lane here. Not sure what happened to him, but unfortunate to see that, as it looks like we are sorting this field. We're getting things going. I see the 1 to green signal now out. Now that makes things exciting, I'll tell you. As we go through, lights are out on that Porsche safety car. We will have one run here around, and then we are back and going and underway as it goes through. And here's how your lead shapes up as it goes. Kicking in LMP2, let's talk about them. It's Cody Peredato, Aiden Garcia, Maxwell Woodmansee, Dwight Hibbs in 4th, Caruso, Paletti, Milky, Lanton, Carey, Kellhagen. That is your LMP2 category as they run. GT3 Pros as they stand. It looks like we're actually seeing some double. No, the Pros are heading ahead of the AMs. We're still sorting the order. Okay. Hugo Alexander Ortiz, that 372 Aston Martin, has found himself up in front. Colin Bourdon, Callan Tobin, John Javicki, Mike Sermon, Tyler Cook, Mac Bell, Tyler Stenick all the way in P9. Joel Bandera in 10th, Brian Medderly P11, Ethan Murphy, Paul Nye, Parker Chiapuzzo, the 14 GT3 Pro still running. And in AM, it is Kyle O'Grady who leads Dayton McGuire, with Christopher Ondera, who has been dominant in the lead, now having to fight from P3, Wedderburn and Hemperley going through, and then Daniel Pinero, Benjamin Bechtel in 7th place, Clayball, Vosselman, our race sponsor, Matthew Santerciero, Joshua Bibb, Craig Yor, Wilson, and Derek Rice, the 14 AMs that are going to be taking things on. I'm going to cut real quick to our in-race pit reporter, Voldemort himself, Zach Nerney. Sir, what should we watch on this restart?
You should watch for a clean getaway, and there will be a checkup. You just have to see who is expecting that checkup. We might have some incidents going into T1 here too, with people trying to make up as many spots with how the leaders got flipped on their heads here. Yeah.
Will there be another caution if there's a big turn 1 incident? What is kind of the league stance on cautions breed cautions?
I believe there will not be another caution.
All right, so carnage into turn 1, RIP your race. Got it. Sounds good to me. Do we still have a Dwight Hibbs up here with us?
I think so.
Dwight Hibbs, sir, you are still here. What are we expecting on this restart? Are you ready for it? Starting out P4.
I'm not ready. I got wheel damage, so it's going to be real fun. I'm expecting a checkup behind. I think this top 3 in front of me is going to have a good getaway. I think what you're going to want to watch is those GT3s.
All right, well, we'll see what happens here on the front end. We'll get the race underway and resume. 34 minutes, 45 seconds left to go here in the Enduro de Fuego 90 here, brought to you by PTR TV here on Brought to you by Elbows Out Racing here on PTR TV. Let me get the words right. Let me get the order right. That Porsche safety car pulls off here. Ladies and gentlemen, buckle your belts. Pull your belts tight one more time. This is an ARCA. I commentated ARCA last night, and I meant to use that last night. I didn't, so you get it here tonight. Cody Peredato is going to be leading us down through the start as the 10 LMP2s still running lineup. They get underway. They get going. There is our restart. We are back green, and Cody Peredato gets a great jump here. Everybody in that top 3, P4 back looking good. Alex Caruso here trying to make a move back in the back of the LMP2s. The teammates Lanton and Haugen trying to sort out side by side. It's teammate on teammate violence back in the back. We're going to check back in on these GT3s because now Callan Tobin trying to warm the tires after that caution. Here we go. This is where this turn 1 carnage is going to come in here. Let's watch turn 1 as it goes. Everybody hard on the brakes, down the inside. Many a moves being made in the AM category. Big off there. That is the number 48. That is going to be Daniel Pinero, who's heading off there in turn 2.
Yeah, I mean, that's an easy corner to kind of lose it on there, especially if the tires aren't exactly up to their proper temps. And we're still seeing some very good battles here on the night. Some more dust as the green McLaren gets spun around. Joel Bandera, oh, that's a bit of a risky rejoin, but he gets away with it. And that almost could have been another incident there. Just going through, and there's an LMP2 off. That's Jonathan Lanton.
Jonathan Lanton off there going through. Unfortunate to see for him as he goes through. So the restart, the cold tires catching people off guard. Nathan Hemperly off as well there as he goes, and he says pineapples belong on pizza. Well, Mustangs don't belong in the gravel, and I think we can agree on both things here as it goes. And if you don't like pineapple on pizza, well, I don't want to hear it in the comments. Don't tell me that is who I think that is. That is Paul Nye around. What has happened to Paul Nye as he has spun?
Yeah, that's really unfortunate. He was having, he had such a good start to the race earlier on tonight. And it's really unfortunate to see that he has had an issue here tonight. He's been having a good run, not just tonight, but throughout most of the season. He's been having some really good runs here. So just curious to see where it all started to go wrong here for the number 30 Aston Martin. And I think this might be it. Okay, so there's Bandera getting a little bit sideways in that Kermit Green McLaren. He's going to come back out on track. That is Woodmansey also having a bit of a moment. And then there's Emily Milky having a moment as well. Going way off to the MotoGP part of the track, I believe. I believe that's Chicane they use. There is Tyler Cook, I believe, going off there in the Mercedes. He was not cooking enough. Yep, the number 691. He lived a bit too moss there as he goes off. And then Nathan Hemperly having a good amount of a slide there. The Mustang, once again, doing Mustang things. And then Paul Nye Sr. just kind of losing in a bit of a weird spot.
We've had another big moment here. We'll see if we can catch it. That is Derek Rice back in the back of Joshua Bibb. I was not expecting that one. Jonathan Lanton, it looks like possibly involved in this one as well. Let's see what happens coming through as Matthew Santorciero was also having a moment here. He spins, catches it together. What happened, though, as he comes around? So that's Bibb going wide. That's where all of that came together, and he backed it all the way onto the hill to get out of the way. You got to respect it, I tell you. So as we go back to live pictures here for Matthew Santorciero as he goes through, let's check back in up front because I do see a great battle that is heating up here at the moment for the P2 position. Callan Tobin here running in second place. He girl dads well, he races well, but he can't golf. And I tell you what, I can't golf either, so I respect it. As we go along, these GT3 pros battling it out. GT3 AMs also battling it out as Chris Frondera has worked his way up past Dayton McGuire. Now he's trying to work his way back up to the front. He's got a 1.5 second gap to try to overcome.
I also cannot golf very well, even though my dad is, I think, like a semi-pro golfer. At least he used to be when he was younger. That gene did not get passed on to me, but I'll take commentating over that any day of the week because we get to see good battles like this one. We were talking about at the restart if Alex Caruso could go ahead and fight back, and it looks like he has fought back. The gap is now under half a second between himself and Cody Perodato just up the road. He's going to go ahead and get a beautiful slipstream under a beautiful sunset here at the circuit at Barcelona, Catalunya, as we're down to the final half an hour of the Enduro de Fuego 90. He's going to get close. He's going to try it. But right now, there's just a bit too much in between for him to try for any kind of move. Perodato swinging a bit wide there, but that is the nature of turn number 3. But look how close Alex Caruso is. Is he going to send it up the inside? Yes, he does. Alex Caruso getting a beautiful send. Cody Perodato going to try to answer now, but Alex Caruso positioning that car in a beautiful way. Beautiful defense from the number 395, and he is back up into the lead.
I have a strange feeling that we're going to be revisiting these two again here soon. because I have a feeling that Caruso is really on the ragged edge of driving that car, and Perodato possibly trying to save those tires a little bit, work them in just a little bit better, even though we are running low on time here. 28 minutes, still plenty of time to go, honestly, as it stands. So I wonder if Perodato is maybe saving a little bit here, giving a little bit. Eric Mack with some severe front end damage as we cut over here. And he, unfortunately, it looks like has had a moment with Travis Bell, who is on the inside of the circuit, trying to figure out a way to get that Mustang out. Travis, I'd almost just tow it at that point, buddy. I don't think it's worth it. Eric Mack gets it back rolling. Travis Bell, though, still stuck in position, still looking for time, but that tire not moving. He might just have to call the tow truck on this one and send it in. Let's see if we can dial up what just happened to these two really quick as they go through. Here we go. This is going to be what happened. So that's a moment there. That is actually not involving through. Let's see a better picture here from up high of what happened and get a better idea, because that started further ahead. That is the number one Mustang who was in that as well. Brian Metterly is really where that one started. Or no, sorry, not Brian Metterly, but his teammate. That's really where that one started. So let's see here if we can find what happened going through as they go along. Dayton McGuire has now crashed out, it looks like, as well. So let's see what happened to Dayton. This is what happened to Dayton. Dayton just too much curb, sends the car to the inside. And that is unfortunate to see for him. As he goes back through, we go back to live pictures now and check back out in the front here as traffic is now starting to become a factor.
Indeed. So we know Alex Caruso had a pretty good time of getting through this traffic previously, but I think he's in a part of a track where it's really difficult to get past this traffic. So, and we can already see that it added up a few tenths onto the gap between himself and Cody Perodato. Before that series of corners, it was 1.2 tenths, and now it's getting closer to roughly 2 seconds. It was at 1.8 for a moment, but now kind of having that 1.6 to 1.7 second range there. As there are some gaps starting to form here, the only lead position that doesn't actually have a second or more of a gap is Kyle O'Grady and Christopher Ondera in the GT3 AM category. They're battling it pretty closely here, but Alex Caruso, when he's been in clean air, he's been pretty much unstoppable here. And honestly, I think he's got a pretty good chance to win here. But like we've said before, it's not over till the checker flag waves. And traffic could really take things away here from Alex Caruso.
Indeed, it could here as he works his way through the sunset of this track. I want to watch Kyle O'Grady here because Christopher Ondera is still gaining time in at the moment. 143.8 to a 143.9 last lap here. Let's see if Kyle O'Grady can take on Ondera here and work his way through. He's trying to close that gap in, but it's one thing to catch, it's another to pass with 25 minutes to go here. How can this happen? It's going to be interesting to watch and see what they can do. This is going to be a fun one to keep an eye on here as it sits into the closing stages of this race. These guys have been racing really, really hard this entire time. It's been fun to watch here as we watch here from the left rear of Kyle O'Grady, as you can see again, Ondera just that much closer time after time. And now, as I sneeze, Ondera right in the rear bumper here. Let's see if he's able to get a pass done here, or does Kyle O'Grady have enough left in the tank to hold on to him as they go along? Let's see how this goes. That number 8 positioning the car perfectly. Ondera a little bit tighter here through turns 9 and 10. Can he work his way past? Let's see if he has enough in the tank to give it through. Well, he's certainly going to try it. Let's see here. Hard on the gas goes that number 8, that Sleepy Turtle. And it looks like that Sleepy Turtle car doing a pretty good job here of trying to hold on.
Yeah, he's doing a pretty good job here. And I mean, the Sleepy Turtle car is definitely not asleep right now. It's got some really good pace, wide awake and throttle wide open. He's trying to go ahead and pull away from the Mustang here, as Kyle O'Grady is going to continue to lead the GT3 AMs. But now here's the problem. They're now coming through turn 14 onto the massive straight, And we know how strong that Mustang is in a straight line. And it looks like the American car is going to go ahead and get the pass done on the straight. And going into turn 1. Oh, contact that absolutely knocks off the front bumper. The headlights on that Aston Martin are disabled temporarily. And I think that did dislodge the bumper a bit on that number 8 car. So a bit of damage there. And now Andre Wedderburn has pretty much invited himself to this party here, as there's now a 3-way battle for the lead here in GT3 AM. Putting the 3 into GT3 AM here for this lead. Oh, and that's a dive and a half if I've ever seen one.
Wedderburn late on the brakes there. Great move along. A little bit of a slide from Ondera ahead, and Ondera able to keep some pace here and keep going. Wedderburn able to get by there. Kyle O'Grady still trying to hold on. Mind that sausage curb there on the exit. Does a great job doing just that here, and the battle will continue along here, but I have a feeling these 3 have sorted themselves out a little bit more than we expected as they continue along here. Still 22 minutes to go here. Sunset very quickly approaching here in Barcelona. I want to check in up here with Kel Hagen, who's still trying to take on Nicholas Paletti, P4, P5 in class as they go along. Let's see, watch the sausage curves in the LMP2 there. Paletti able to yank that car back in line, go through, and as we continue here down the 3rd sector of the track, they continue along, and to tell you what, another good battle to watch. Stenik all the way back to Chiapuzzo, P5 through P10 in class as they come down the main straight. Stenik, Medderly, there's Javicki, and then here is Ethan Murphy, Tyler Cook, and Chiapuzzo all running their way through down the main straight into the first couple of corners, trying to hold on, and then behind them again, Wedderburn O'Grady still holding on, as it looks like Alex Caruso has not started really lapping people yet. I lied. He's actually gotten past the 77 of Date McGuire, so he is starting to slowly work his way through the GT3 AM field. He's got 2.8 seconds to the good to Perodato, but really all eyes right now on that big battle in GT3 AM on Dara, Wedderburn, O'Grady, top 3.
And I mean, honestly, this is a really good battle to watch. The GT3 AMs have really come out firing on all cylinders here tonight, because it feels like a lot of the really strong battles we've been watching have been in this class. And I mean, I don't know what else you can really say about it, aside from the fact that it is amazing. If you left to get popcorn at any point, then I feel bad for you, because you probably missed some really good action here in this GT3 field. The battle of the Mustangs and the Aston Martin, that one of them bullied a bit earlier on, but it is currently 2 Mustangs going at it with the Aston Martin, just kind of waiting to see if one of these drivers will make a mistake. And I did see somebody touch a little bit of gravel back there, and I don't think that was a spin, but somebody definitely kicked up some gravel there on the previous corners. But now here's an interesting thing. We know the Mustang is better than the Aston Martin in terms of straight line speed, but what about Mustang v Mustang? Who's going to win it out here? Is it going to be Christopher Ondera? Is it going to be Andre Wedderburn? Who's going to get the move done going into turn number 1? And it looks like it will be Christopher Ondera this time around. But Wedderburn did close that gap ever so slightly.
I can tell you that regardless of who it is, we at least know one thing. It's a Mustang that gets ahead of a Mustang. I'll be here all week. Thank you very much. Behind them, Vosselman, Panero, Hemperly continuing to battle it out along as they go. Plenty of battles left here to go as it stands. So let's see how this goes through. Cody and Caruso still trying to sort this one out. Gap 2.2 seconds as they go. Again, that traffic in and out, give and take. But Cody Perodato, again, I think saving a little bit of pace here for the last 20 minutes of this race as the sun goes down. We'll see if the car comes to him as it stands here, and we'll see what happens. Last lap, he was a 1.5 seconds faster than Alex Caruso, but Alex Caruso on his best lap was a full 1 second faster than Cody Perodato. So keep that in mind as they go. I'll be curious to see how this gap swings as we go. But again, we're playing the game of traffic giveth, traffic taketh. And so you have to keep that in mind. Right now, what I'm keeping in mind really is just all these great battles. Here we go. Headlights on. The night lighting just kicked on out of nowhere. And I can feel it in the PC performance because that was a weird shift that just happened. I apologize for that, but that is the fun of rendering iRacing. We suddenly shift into nighttime as it goes. 18 minutes left to go here on the track. Nathan Hemperly trying to get past Daniel Pinero here, not able to as it goes. And then here we go as they continue along. Paul Nye trying to make up a position here in P12 against Joel Bandera for P11. Let's see how this goes down the front stretch. Dive it to the inside. Paul Nye does. Let's see if he's able to clear this through. And Joel shuts the door. I tell you what, he curb stomped that door shut.
Indeed. He's like, not this time, Girl Scout. I don't want any cookies. I've told you already. And then the door is slammed, but look at this. Alex Caruso is going to just kind of brute force the door wide open as the LMP2 clears the traffic. And now, once again, it is a battle that we have seen quite a bit here tonight. And it is Paul Nye on a bit of a revenge tour here, trying to make back those places he lost earlier on with that spin earlier, as now just ahead of them, Joel I believe that was a different Aston Martin. It was a different Aston Martin, gets passed by the LMP2. But now it is back again to the battle of the Mustangs. Ondera and Wedderburn going at it again, but Kyle O'Grady hasn't really let them too far out of his grasp yet. But the Mustang top end is very strong here tonight.
There is your overall race leader of Alex Caruso trying to work his way through the field as they go. Let's see what he can do as he's going to try to just set this pass up here with Hyperion Racing's LMP2. Goes for the move, goes down the inside of the first Aston, has a great move there. And now as we look over the wonderful evening lights here in Barcelona, the sun has officially set, the headlights are on, and we continue through for the final 15 minutes of this race as we go here. Going down, he's going to get past Christopher Ondera, hard on the brakes into P1, or into turn 1 he goes, and a great dive there down the inside as these cars continue to cycle through. Paul Nye does get the pass done on Joel Bandera into turn 1 here, and as all of the cars continue in, 16 minutes left to go here for the first of 2 90-minute races on the season. I didn't get to finish the calendar talk earlier, so let's talk about the calendar for the rest of the season as it stands here. So we are currently in round number 6 here of Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya with the Enduro de Fuego 90. Next week, it is Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez that will be next. And then from there, it's Autodromo Nacional Monza. And, well, if you don't know Monza, you really should know Monza as it stands. Then from there, we go to the Red Bull Ring, which I'm going to be real honest with you. I'm a little bit nervous for the Red Bull Ring. I don't know how that's going to go with so many cars around. And then we go to the one that I personally had a hand in picking, and if the drivers don't like it, well, sorry, drivers, I'm not sorry about it. It's a night rain race for 90 minutes at the Daytona International Speedway. Yes, night rain, 90 minutes long on November 19th. That one I had a big handful in helping to pick out. November 26th, that is the week of Thanksgiving. There will be a fun race that has nothing to do with the championship, but it is still a fun race nonetheless. And then it's Nürburgring with the WEC layout on December 3rd for the final round of the season for 60 minutes. So that'll be exciting, but that penultimate round, Daytona rain night race, well, I'm just going to turn to Vollmermotor here. Zach Nerney, sir, I got to ask, how do you feel about a rain night race for 90 minutes at Daytona coming up for the penultimate round of the season?
I feel really good about it. I actually love driving these cars in the rain. Really excited for Daytona, especially at night. And with the rain, it just kind of feels classic.
I think it's going to be a good one. With what we've seen here on these 90 minutes here of Barcelona, obviously you not being able to drive this week because you are trying to truly get in the Halloween spirit here and take your nose off. But I got to ask, what have you seen this week that you're going to take for next week? Obviously your teammate not having the best time here of Paul Nye, but have you seen other cars doing certain things that you picked up on, or what are you taking away from this week?
I haven't really seen too many cars doing things that, I'm going to take away from. Mainly just the guys staying clean, working with the P2s to allow them to get around a lot easier. Not really what's happening there, as Wedderburn was looking to the inside of the P2 there. But yeah, just trying to keep it clean, especially at Daytona with the rain. Try and keep it on track.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun, Zach. I appreciate you hanging out with us here through this 90-minute race. It's been great getting to get your insider info and get some behind the scenes and just having that extra set of hands sometimes here because things can get wild at Elbows Out, as we all know. So big shout out to everyone that helps here and goes through. I want to give a big shout out to everyone that hangs out in chat each week and hangs out. Big shout out to all of the drivers as Paul Nye goes for a big dive down the inside there. Gets a great move done there on the number 8 of Kyle O'Grady. That was not for position, but that was still a good move to make there for Paul Nye as he is just working his way through and around traffic. Yeah, it's great to see everyone, come through. A lot of the drivers have given me some really strong feedback here on the broadcast, on the good, the bad, and the ugly, as I've requested it, to try to help bring a better production week by week here on PTR TV. And I do appreciate it all from everyone here. And Patrick, I appreciate you as always, sir, as it's great to see going through. And I got to ask, 12 minutes, 20 seconds to go. What sort of big things are we expecting? LMP2, GT3s? What are you thinking is going to be the big fireworks here?
I think there's going to be a drag race to the line for the win in the GT3 AM category. Kind of like what we saw in the GT3 Pros last season at Road Atlanta when Paul Nye got his win there, and how there was only I think 0.3 of a second separating P1 and P2 in that class. And I think that's honestly what's going to happen here tonight. It is going to come down to the Mustangs having a beautiful drag race as the checker flag falls. That's going to be my big prediction. I think unless traffic really gets involved, I think the other two classes are pretty much in a pretty good spot, but Mike Sherman is closing in bit by bit onto Colin Boydon here, so that might be some fireworks here coming up. But Caruso is maintaining a pretty solid gap onto Cody Peredato here as we take a look at Christopher Andera. Actually, nope, that is his teammate of Mike Sherman going at it, putting pressure onto Colin Boydon, at least trying to, but the overall race leader, Alex Caruso, is just behind, so he's going to be looking to make that pass a bit sooner rather than later. Not really on a great spot on the track to do it. Now he is. Now he's pretty much right where that second DRS zone would be in a Formula 1 car, and now he's going to make his way through. And now, with the gap at just over 2 seconds, Mike Sherman could benefit actually from a little bit of the slipstream coming off of the back of the LMP2 on the straight, but right now it is getting nothing but the dirty air, which might be putting a bit of extra strain on those tires.
Definitely looks like it might be here as they go through. 10 minutes left to go. All of the battles still alive. Kel Hagen here going through as Aiden Garcia is way off the track there. I have to have a feeling that there was some shenanigans that was afoot there as Aiden Garcia dropped massively down the order and is now right back on the throttle here trying to find his way around the Aston Martin ahead there as it goes through. That's Hugo Alexander Ortiz, who was leading at the restart, has dropped back down to P6 in class now. But Aiden Garcia, tell you what, let's see if we can dial up a replay really quick here. One of the last replays of the night, I have a feeling, as we go through. And let's see where this one started here as we get this replay up on screen. So it was contact between the Mustangs ahead, and that was a Pro and an AM having contact, and that is what caused Aiden Garcia to have to take some defensive actions and get his way through. But as he did so, that cost him a position now as that 46, his rear bumper there, Metterly going through, and it was Stenik who had the contact there with one of the AM Mustangs, who I'm not 100% sure who that was, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm not too sure either, but what I do know for a fact is that things are getting pretty spicy here in the final 10 minutes. I mean, we've seen some pretty close action here, and now we have a close battle while the GT cars are just up ahead. It's Kel Haugen and Aiden Garcia battling for the final spot on the podium. As it looks like here, it's going to be a tightly knit battle. The Charizard machine going in and putting pressure On to the number 49, the winner of last week's race in Portimao of Calhaugen. He's going to go ahead and try to hold on to that position, but Aiden Garcia isn't going to let him go without a fight, and the Charizard car is going to go ahead and try to burn up that distance in between himself and Calhaugen and try to get that last step of the podium.
Definitely doing a great job to give it the old college try here. 8 minutes left to go right now. Garcia trying to go through more battles starting to shape up here, up and down the field, because that's Nicholas Paletti right there, who is trying to look for a payday here of maybe a top 4, top 3 if he can find it, as he continues through in that number 56. That Hershey's car looking quite sweet at the moment for a potential top 3 if he can get that going. Brian Medderly here battling it out with his teammate Tyler Stenick. We'll see here, is there any team orders being played? What is the run here? We've argued time and time again that Medderly is faster than Stenick, and by the lap times, the best laps and last laps, I would say that is true. So let's see here, does Medderly work his way around Stenick, or do they hold station and hold foot? They got to be careful though if they're too slow, because Hugo Alexander Ortiz is ready behind. Up here in the AM battle, we're still not done. Christopher Ondera, Andre Wedderburn, and Aaron Claybaugh, and now Kyle O'Grady. 4 cars trying to battle it out here for the win in GT3 AM. What happens here for these 3? Well, your guess is as good as mine as they continue along here, but I'll tell you right now, looking at last laps, Andre Wedderburn is faster than Ondera right now. Not by much, but by enough, and that is what you need at this point, is just enough. But is it too little too late for him to be able to get past?
Yeah, I mean, you're running out of time here. You got just about 6.5 minutes left to go, so that's going to roughly put things at probably, taking a look at specifically the, well, we can look at the LMP2 times for a good reference. So you would probably get about maybe 3 laps, maybe 4 at the most out of this, probably closer to 3, but I mean, you're running out of lap time here. So if you're going to make this move, you absolutely have to make it now, because if you wait too long, then you're just going to run out of time. And ultimately, it's going to be a matter of what if.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one really to kind of watch and see how it plays out at the moment. Right now, Colin Bourdon really starting to feel pressure here. I don't think that GT3 Pro is done, because Mike Sermon has really opened up the throttle here the last couple of laps. He's managed to find some of his best laps of the 90 minutes here as he goes through. He's closing the gap significantly. 2.5 now is the gap between Bourdon and Sermon. There's Bourdon, there's Sermon with an LMP2 between. I tell you what, this might get spicy here to the end. Let's tune back in here right now, though, because right now it's Mustang versus Mustang. It's Wedderburn versus Ondera. It's the battle for GT3 AM domination. Who comes out ahead here as they head down into the 3rd sector, into the hard cut turn 12. Let's see, hard on the brakes they go, and it is right now going to be Bob Carey trying to work his way through. How is that going to affect Wedderburn? How is that going to affect Ondera? What's going to come out here as they go through? Let's see, as it's hard on the brakes, still holding stationary in the gap. Let's just keep an eye on this here for the moment, because right now Wedderburn really starting to place the pressure in on Ondera as we close in. 4 minutes, 30 seconds left to go as they cross the line.
Yeah, it's going to be really close here. And honestly, like I said earlier, I think this one's going to come right down to the line, as Andre Wedderburn is going to go and try to close the gap, trying to use as much of the slipstream as he can. The LMP2 that just passed, I believe that is Bob Carey, who just got on through. And so that traffic isn't going to play a role in this battle, but it looks like Andre might be losing a bit of time in some of these corners. Maybe he did burn up a bit more of his tire compared to the Mustang up the road of Christopher Ondera. And Brooklyn may have the best pizza, but we'll see who has the best Mustang here tonight in the GT3 AMs, because honestly, I don't think we're going to reach that conclusion anytime soon.
I mean, we have to reach a conclusion in 3 minutes and 45 seconds, but yeah, it's going to be a long 3 minutes, 45 seconds. I'll tell you that much as we go through. And if you're wondering about the lead in LMP2, well, we'll give you a brief update here as these two sort themselves out. Alex Caruso, here he is. And here's Cody Peredato, and if you're saying, hey, that looks like a very different part of the track, it's because it is. Here's Alex Caruso. Here's Cody Peredato. That's what about 14 seconds of gap looks like as they go through. And then meanwhile, here's Ondera coming through with Wedderburn 0.3 of a second right off his rear bumper here as he goes through. And we look off the rear bumper of Ondera. What do you do in this situation? Well, I'll tell you what, head down, drive forward, don't think about it. That is the best thing you can do. You gained the lead back after the restart. You qualified on front of class. You don't want to think about it at this point. You just want to drive, and that is all Ondera needs to do here as it goes. But that gap is closing with Slipstream down the main straight. How is this going to end here? Gap 3.5 tenths as they hit the braking zone here, and that is what's going to be really interesting to sort of watch here through the last little bit and see how it goes in GT3 Pro. 2 seconds now the gap. 2.5 minutes. Patrick, I don't know what to look at. I don't know what to do. There's battles everywhere. There's chaos happening, and it's all about to come to a head.
Indeed, and like you said, I mean, mathematically there's not a lot of time on the clock, but if you're Christopher Ondera, these 2 minutes are going to feel like 2 hours just because of the close battling. But look at this. Clayball is going to go in and try to get in there. He's going to go in and try to separate the Mustangs here. With 2 minutes to go, we are closing in on the final lap and a half of the race here. And this is going to be a close battle. I think now, at this stage, this battle might be a bit more between Wedderburn and Clayball than it is with Ondera and Wedderburn. So, I mean, this battle into GT3 AMS is super lively, and it has been all night. As we do see one of the lapped GT3 cars just up the road ahead. I believe that's actually another Mustang. Not sure which Mustang that is, but what I do know is that it's going to be 3 Mustangs sharing a bit of slipstream here. And that is Craig Yore in the number 120, currently P12 into GT3 AMS. He's going to go ahead and pull over to the side and allow the GT3 leaders to go on through. They're going to make things a lot easier for the top 3, but oh, look at this. We'll see how it's going to go. It looks like Clayball was thinking about a move, but doesn't quite get it. We are down to less than 60 seconds on the clock, and this battle is pretty much at an all or nothing stage here as we close out the final minute.
This is absolutely aggressive racing here as it goes through. Kel Hogg and Aiden Garcia is still battling it out, by the way. Alex Caruso just came across to take the white flag here. This will be our final full lap coming in from our race leaders. He goes around Joshua Bibb there down the inside, and then from there he is also going to go around Seth Bosselman around the outside, switch back to the inside as he works his way through past Bosselman. Alex Caruso, I mean, I don't know what you say about that 395, because right now he is actually putting Jonathan Lanton a lap down. He put an LMP2 a lap down after a restart. Now that is impressive. In 30 minutes, he managed to find ridiculous time, and that 395 has been on a dominant run from the top of the race. He qualified great. His best lap was a full second better than Cody Peredato. Cody Peredato, who we said was unstoppable. We said he was the force to be beat. Well, I'll tell you what, every once in a while a force finds an equal and opposite reaction, and sometimes that one's greater. And that's not just because I was studying Newton's third law this morning for aviation school. That is because of the fact that, well, sometimes the greats just have to be dominated. We see it in real life time after time after time. You set a record, you have a great run, and somebody steps up and does it a little bit better. Alex Caruso really settling in on that story here. He rounds the final corner here as the sun has fully set in Barcelona. The headlights are on, but he's going to shine the star of the night. Coming across the line, Alex Caruso is going to win the Enduro de Fuego 90 here. 90 minutes at Barcelona. An amazing run here in round 6 of Elbows Out.
A dominant drive from him, as now we're going to see Colin Bourdon make his way through the final 2 sectors of the racetrack on the evening. And here we go. We're going to see the man who's done very well this season, the number 184 Porsche of Colin Bourdon. He's going to go ahead and make his way through the last couple of corners here. He's going to go ahead and put that SimCity racing machine on the top step of the GT3 Pro podium. And he's going to go ahead. He may have a private pilot license here, but he had no issues piloting that car to the front of the field. Colin Baudon wins the Enduro de Fuego 90 here at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, under the lights. And speaking of under the lights will see one last battle for one last lead that has to be decided here. It is the Elbows Out Racing Mustang trying to go ahead and fend off Andre Wedderburn in at number 151. They got 2 more corners left to go now, and this is going to come to a drag race here to the line. Who is going to win this battle? We're just going to have to see. It's going to be a bit of a drag race. He's going to try for it, but there's just no way to get around. And Christopher Rondera will win in the GT3 AM category. It was a hard-fought victory, but he has done it. And Alex Caruso doing donuts in the end of turn 1.
Absolutely deserved win there from Caruso. Great run from him. And then Christopher Ondera fighting back after the restart, coming forward there in AM and being able to hold off a hard-fought Andre Wedderburn by half a second in the end. After 90 minutes of racing, when you have a gap of half a second you're fighting, that is hard-fought. Colin Bourdon, great win in the GT3 Pro category. But I tell you what, after 90 minutes of racing, that was good. So what do you say we go through our race results here, class by class as it stands, and see where your favorite driver finished out? Alex Caruso, after a restart with just over 30 minutes to go, finds 14 and a half seconds to the good, fought his way from P6 to the lead, then found 14 and a half seconds. Cody Perodato, a reckoning is coming. Let me warn you. And Cody Perodato finds P2. Kel Hagen in 3rd. Aiden Garcia in P number 4. From there, it is 5th place of Nicholas Paletti, Maxwell Woodman, C, Emily Milky, Bob Carey, Jonathan Lanton, Dwight Hibbs, your top 10 there. And then from there, we go Diltz, Malik Bass, and Luke Patrick, not able to finish this race. In GT3 Pro, as we've said, Colin Bourdon wins 2.8 seconds over Mike Sermon. Hard-fought run there for him. Callan Tobin finds 3rd. Metterly and Stenick do end up sticking with Metterly ahead of Stenick. John Shavicki, Hugo Alexander Ortiz in P7. Chiapuzzo in 8th. Paul Nye able to recover to P9 after that restart faux pas. And Ethan Murphy in P10. Bandera, Cook, the return of the Mac, returned to P13. Travis Bell, Stevens Poe, and Zach Nerney, who was our in-race pit reporter. He didn't actually start the race. In GT3 AM, as it stands, on Dara Wedderburn, Kyle O'Grady, Aaron Clayball, Benjamin Bechtel in 5th place. Nathan Hemperly ended up finding P6. Daniel Pinero in 7th. From there, it was Bosselman, Bibb, McGuire. Our race sponsor, Matthew Santer-Sierra, along with his wife, Heather, and his unborn son, Sebastian. Craig Yor, Derek Rice, and Tim Wilson, the 14 AMs to take on this race. And Patrick, let's see who we've got floating around here. Do we have our race winner floating around who survived the Enduro de Fuego, who survived the Circuit de Tire Shredder? We do. And Patrick, you've caught up with Alex Caruso there in Victory Circle.
All right, Alex, welcome to Victory Lane here. I mean, you had a dominant drive here, even fighting back from P6 to P1 after the caution restart. Ultimately, how was the race from your perspective here tonight?
It was a lot of fun. I always enjoy driving with this league. I don't get the chance to very often, unfortunately, due to my schedule. But it's always a ton of fun when I get the chance to. Everybody behaves really well. It's nice to hear the comms where everybody's, saying no worries and, good job and good race. It's a little different than the leagues I usually race in. So always love coming in and enjoying a good, friendly race.
It is always a good time here at Elbows Out Racing for us here in the booth and for the drivers. I mean, how was that safety car restart for you in particular? Because you started from 6th and you had quite a few cars to climb through.
Yeah, I was hoping to have a couple more fights on my hand, but I think a couple of LMP2s in front of me got into it with each other. So I think I really only passed like 3 cars by the time I got up to the pack and everything kind of settled down. But that was a lot of fun. Just kind of kept my head cool. Just wanted to see what everybody else was doing, see what the pace was like, and then just make my moves from there.
All right, 2 more questions before we go ahead and let you go for tonight. Are we going to see you next week in Mexico when we take on the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez for 60 minutes?
I hope so. Actually, I haven't driven a single lap of that track yet, so I would need to learn it from scratch and probably build my setup from scratch too. So it would be a bit of a hurdle, but who knows? Maybe I'll be able to put in the effort and my schedule will free up for that race too.
All right, and is there anyone you'd like to thank or shout out after tonight's race?
Yeah, of course. Hyperion Racing, obviously, that's my team. We compete in a ton of leagues and official races, so just nice to represent those guys well here. It was nice having a couple of those guys in the Discord with me, cheering me on. Luke, Ryan, Nick, Jordan, those guys. Eddie we're all in there. So it was nice to just have them encouraging me as I was going. It was nice to have them by my side. And I'd like to shout out my wife at home. She's always supportive of my racing, and I hopped into this one last minute, and she said go for it. So big shout out to those guys and my son Jace as well.
All right, well, once again, congratulations there, Alex, and best of luck to you, and hopefully we'll see you next week.
Thank you very much.
All right. And from there, we are going to catch up with the GT3 Pro winner, Colin Bourdon from SimCity Racing. Colin, sir, that was a hard-fought run in that Porsche. You were getting swarmed by Mustangs left, right, and center, but in the end, you were able to take that Porsche and get it together, get the win. How's it feel, man?
Yeah, it feels good. The Fords are a lot to deal with in this one. Tyler, Brian, Callan, all over me. It was a tough one. Porsche doesn't really love this track, at least the way I drive it. So I'm very, very happy with the result, all things considered.
Definitely was a lot of fun to watch, man, and kind of see you going through. I got to ask you about the safety car restart. How close were you to pitting when that safety car came out, and how much did that change your strategy?
I wasn't close to pitting. I was literally full of fuel. I was going to go until I ran out. That was my plan. So, yeah, I just took the opportunity to pit when I'd lose less time, and yeah, that's about it.
Awesome. And Colin, man, next week it is Mexico City. How you feeling about that track? Do we think the Porsche is going to handle better or worse there?
Yeah, honestly, I don't know enough about that track to really have an opinion. I've never driven there. So we'll see. If it's got a lot of long, sweeping turns, then I might be in trouble.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one for you then. Colin, before I let you go, man, anyone you want to thank, anyone you want to shout out, the floor is yours.
Yeah, SimCity Racing and my teammate Peter Nodwell. I did this one for you, buddy. Yeah, that's about it. All the boys and girls at the factory, of course. So that's about it. Yeah, by the way, I did call back-to-back poles and wins, so that's a complete miracle. I'm gonna go buy a lottery ticket.
I definitely would recommend. That was going to be my next recommendation for you, because someone asked in YouTube chat if you had called it. So yeah, 3-peat next week.
That's certainly realistic to expect.
All right,
just kidding. Of course, I'm joking, everybody.
I'm going to remember that one. And he has left, so that way he doesn't have to say anything else on that one. So with that being said, congrats, Colin, on winning the GT3 Pro category. And Patrick, you've caught up with Christopher Ondera, who wins GT3 AM.
Christopher Ondera, you were locked in there with the battle of the Mustangs there right at the end. Ultimately, how did you feel that this race went for you? I mean, you got a good win here, but it was definitely not easy by any stretch of the imagination.
Every win I seem to get seems to be somebody's on my tail for the last 30 minutes, and this one was no different. Super fun. A lot of respect to Andre. He definitely kept it clean. Yeah, it was really exciting.
I mean, it's a fun track. I mean, there's a lot of good spots to battle. And how was tire wear for you tonight? Because I know this track is notorious for shredding the front right or front left.
It's super funny. I did a bunch of practice with a full tank, and I personally never experienced tire wear. I felt great from start to end. Yeah, no problem for me.
Indeed. Now we're heading to Mexico City next week. It's a new track for probably just about everybody here, as it is the most recent addition to the iRacing service. So, how much practice have you put into it, if any, or how much do you plan on putting into it?
Well, I will give you my thoughts on the track after I buy it in about 20 minutes.
You know what? That is fair. But anyone you'd like to thank or shout out before we let you go enjoy your victory?
I'd like to thank my mom and dad, who have always supported me throughout my entire life. They watch every race. Huge shout out to you. Love you guys.
And we love seeing these beautiful battles that you've been bringing us week in and week out. So we'll see you next week, and congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I tell you what, Patrick, that was a wild 90-minute race, but we ran sunrise to sunset. We get into the evening here, and that is going to be where I think we send this one off, because that was a lot of fun.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya always provides some good racing. And when you mix it with a league that can provide good races at pretty much any track in existence, like Elbows Out Racing, and I think this was honestly kind of a match made in heaven. And I know I said it earlier on in the broadcast, but you probably could have not picked a better track to do a 90-minute race.
Absolutely. I think the only track that's going to be just as good for a 90-minute race is, well, the other 90-minute racetrack, which is Daytona. So here we go. Next week, it's Mexico, and we got some big plans for that one. Don't you worry. Make sure you tune in next week. And remember, if it's your first time, don't make it your last time. Make sure you like and subscribe. We're on the road for 2,000 subs, and we're not that far off, honestly, and we'd love a little bit of help to get there. It's been a rapid year of growth here on PTR TV, and as we're heading towards the end of October, I can tell you right now, big plans already in the making for 2026. You don't want to miss out, so make sure you are here. On behalf of Patrick, my name is Brad. We've taken you start to finish. Be sure to join us for the next one where we'll take you start to finish yet again. Good night.